Hey, everybody, and welcome. It is STARJUMP Shipyard time. Nice to see you all. It is Wednesday evening, which we're going to talk specifically about Wednesdays here in a second. But hopefully, you're all doing well, having a good week. For those of you that are in the path of Snowpocalypse 2026, hopefully you survived and that you have unburied yourself. For the rest of you, hopefully you're enjoying your good weather. Art, my show
What's up,
producer,
brother?
is here. How are you, buddy?
Good, buddy.
You
Good,
you
good, good,
live
good.
so you live
Sore.
yeah you live near
So,
me. You live near me. How did you survive snowpocalypse?
yeah. I think we tallied 14 and a half inches.
Oh wow, yeah, it was a lot here. It was a lot. Um, Everyone in chat, it is nice to see you all. It is a big day. It's the first patch of 2026, first ship release of 2026. So we're going to get all into that. We're going to cover 4.6. What is it? Lifeline for Ledsky. And then we'll talk, obviously, go in depth on the RSI Hermes. We may even jump in game and check it out in person. But yes, for everyone in chat, I hope you are doing well. I see a lot of familiar faces. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm grabbing a few little things here so that I can pin them in chat. The first one is, and I'll send these to you as well so you have them.
Okay.
This is the current giveaway going on. We are doing a giveaway. Let me switch over here. We are doing a giveaway for an RSI Hermes, if I can say that correctly, for an RSI Hermes, courtesy of CIG. I can't talk tonight. This is not a good sign. This is not a good sign at all. Uh, so for an RSI Hermes, courtesy of CIG. Thank you very much, CIG, for the support. Appreciate that. If you want to get in on that, it's very, very easy to do that, everybody. All you got to do is go to the Gleam link, linked in chat, both or pinned in chat, both on YouTube and on Twitch. I like doing these via Gleam, and for those of you curious why I'm doing the CIG giveaways via Gleam, it's because you have to register with an email regardless, and it makes contacting you afterwards a lot more straightforward. The next show we do, which will be on Sunday, that is the episode that we're going to give the ship away. Okay. We'll give that away on Sunday, and that is the day that the Drake Ironclad giveaway will officially start. Okay, you'll be able to actually enter it and all that kind of good stuff. Those of you that have been showing up for streams, like I've talked about, you're going to get your extra tickets applied, all that kind of good stuff. So stay tuned, keep tuning in. Thank you for those follows, by the way, everybody. The subscriptions, the follows, I do appreciate it. RecQ990, RecQN90. Hopefully I'm saying that right. I'm probably not reading it right, but thank you for the subscription and the follow. I do appreciate that. And just the general support, everyone. It is appreciated. So real quick, let's do the sponsors, and then we'll come back to the RSI Hermes. But I did want to get the giveaway up and pinned for those of you curious about that, because obviously it's in the show title. Ryan, thank you for that follow. Here we go. Obviously, Icon City, one of which is the longest StarJump sponsor. James over at Icon City is awesome dude. If you want to get some icons for your stream deck, whether it's for in-game stuff or streaming, or you got one of those fancy new Corsair keyboards with the little stream deck thing on it, which I really want to get, you can use these icon packs to fill those buttons up. They make it for all kinds of games, not just Star Citizen, but they do have some really, really nice Star Citizen icon packs. They are like really, really slick. So get in on that if you want. Go to their website, iconcity.com. Use the code STARJUMP, get you 10% off, all that kind of good stuff. And then, of course, head over to pigeonspaceport.com. Use the code STARJUMP over there as well to get 10% off. These are the Scorpius models that are all ABS injection molded and fully articulated. They posted on their social just the other day some parts and pieces that were coming out of production, and they were looking really, really slick. Still haven't got my hand on one of these yet, but they are going to send one out to me, and we're going to do a review live on stream, and then we'll give that away to you. One of you will win that. We'll do a big giveaway around it. So thank you very much. Definitely visit the sponsors, pigeonspaceport.com and iconcity.com. Use the code STARJUMP there for your 10% off discount. Now, going back to the Hermes, I see some follows coming in. Thank you, everybody. That is one of the things you can do. Now, here's a real quick thing. If you have already followed on Twitter or X and or Twitch, you do not need to unfollow and refollow. You just click on that link in Gleam and it will automatically detect that you were followed and apply that ticket to you, okay? You don't have to unfollow and refollow, okay? So, but anyways, RSI Hermes giveaway. This is, if many of you know that we got added to sort of the list with CIG to do ship giveaways last year. We did a ship giveaway pretty much every single patch they released, which was really exciting. And I'm very appreciative of CIG for doing that. It helped out the stream a lot. It helped bring some attention our way. So I do appreciate that. And of course, we're going to be continuing that this year, combination of CIG supplied ships as well as STARJUMP Grim supplied ships. And we're kicking it off with the RSI Hermes. Now we're going to go ahead and jump into it. We got a couple of things to watch today. There's a couple of videos, I think, or at least one, definitely the Behind the Ships episode on the Hermes, the RSI Hermes trailer, etc. So we're going to watch those. And then we're going to talk a little bit about 4.6. We're probably going to go in game, check out some stuff there. But before we go into the Hermes, before we go into that, we're going to pull up a video, and I'm going to link you all to it. I want you to all give it a follow, or give Trispone a follow. Give the video a little bit of love. He did his own silhouettes video. This was something I was actually going to do, but did not end up doing. I decided to put some effort into something else, which I'll debut soon. But he did a really cool silhouettes video. I thought it was a lot of fun. Some of the ships in there, Trist had asked me, hey, do you think these are coming out this year? Should I put them in the video? I was like, yeah, you should put them in there. So anyways, it's a fun watch. Again, it's just for the community. It's a community made thing, but I thought it was kind of fun. So we're going to watch that real quick. Here's the link if you want to watch it yourself. We didn't get a silhouettes video for this year. So Trist had to make one for us. Here we go. G12, we haven't had any word on if that's back in production. At one point it was, but we don't know. This is some Grey Cat vehicles, UTV. This is the Anvil Auxilla. The Aurora Mark II, I doubt it's going to be VMXEO's design, but that would be cool. I'm guessing that's the Kruger Stingray. The Hermes, obviously, the Hermes, which is now out today. Whatever the Mole salvage variant is, the Hull B, the Gatak Raylan, the RSI Galaxy, exciting ship coming at the end of the year, the Drake Ironclad coming to Invictus Launch Week or DefenseCon, and then the Aegis Javelin. I've been a big proponent of this ship coming this year. We'll see if that actually ends up happening, but we'll see.
We unfortunately did not get any official.
That's all we have. But I thought it was a fun video. I wanted to share it. Share it with your communities if you want. It's a lot of fun, and I thought Trist did a great job on it. So make sure you go give him a thumbs up. Trist doesn't do like tons of content every day, but the stuff he does make is obviously really, really cool. So make sure you go give Trist's channel a follow. All right, everybody, we're now going to watch the Behind the Ships episode on the RSI Hermes. I may pause every now and then to react to some stuff. Hopefully you all don't mind that. Who said that? Sandgroper says, is it unofficially the RSI Apollo Herpes? I don't know. We may have to get that cleared by Jean Crew to see if that is the new official nickname. Did we just get some gifted subs? What happened? I can't tell. I didn't get an alert for it. Did we get a gifted? Oh, that's we had some subscribes on YouTube. Okay, YouTube. Thank you. Yeah. Actually, real quick here before we start this, I do want to say big shout out to both communities, the YouTube and the Twitch community. really showing up lately. Obviously, we made Twitch partner end of last year, which was fantastic. Big shout out to everyone who showed up for the streams, especially you YouTube watchers who would also tune in on Twitch to help keep our average numbers high and looking good. So I do really appreciate that. Thank you, thank you, thank you. But we got a good turnout today, 128 over on YouTube and 76 over on Twitch, which is pretty good considering there's a ton of people streaming Star Citizen right now. So thank you all very much. Let's go ahead and watch this episode, and we're going to talk all about the Hermes. And then once we go through all the details of the Hermes, we'll jump in game and check it out and do a little tour of it. Here we go.
Tell me about the Greek god Hermes.
History question.
I have absolutely no idea.
I will say the wrong thing, and then the internet will be mad at me.
Did he carry cargo on his shoulders? I don't know. Pull a cart? Was he the god of goods?
Hermes was the herald of the gods and considered the protector of the human heralds, so responsible for people traveling from one location to another and moving things
Thank you
around.
for the subscriptions.
Perfect.
Now, I'm just going to say, Execute is not going to be happy that CIG did not put a lot of thought behind the name. I know he was thinking data runner, but there you go.
The Hermes is RSI's first dedicated medium freighter. We were discussing new ships quite some time ago, and at that point we were developing the Apollo, and the Hermes seemed a natural chassis alteration for the Apollo series.
With the RSI Apollo, it was received very well in terms of its styling, and really what we wanted to do was take
Beautiful
those
ship on the
visuals and just
exterior.
make it available for a new audience.
The main distinguishing feature of the Hermes is it has much larger, beefed up thrusters visually on the outside.
It needs a lot of power to move that weight around. One of the things we wanted to try and convey with its visuals was this idea that it had a lot more strength than what the base Apollo did. So if you look at the very top of the ship, you'll notice that where there's a big window in the Apollo, you're seeing much more of the kind of like the inner structure of the ship. So it's reinforced with large girders and these big metal plates that make it feel a lot stronger.
Whilst its official designation is a medium freighter, the Hermes is sort of internally often referred to as a sort of blockade runner. It is great performance in a straight line with those extra beefy thrusters.
So got some
It has
thruster
good
changes.
armor. Obviously the weapons are all upgraded compared to the Apollo series.
Better
It has
weapons.
16 S2 missiles. It can pack a punch while providing very competitive SCM and nav speeds at the expense of some maneuverability. Inside, the front half of the ship shares virtually everything with the Apollo series, and that is your bridge and habs and component.
I will say I'm a little disappointed we lost the skylight. That was a nice little feature of the Apollos. Funny enough, that's the one thing I wish they would have carried over into this, but they didn't. Obviously, he's trying to show a little bit more of like the hardened structure of this ship, but you know, just a minor thing.
Room, but the back half is a completely different story.
It's pretty obvious that things have changed. It basically strips out any of the interior that isn't essential to the ship's flight and replaces it with a large cargo space.
Capable of holding 288 SCU, and that includes being able to hold the 32 SCU crates. There isn't a lot of ships in that 200 to 300 SCU cargo range. You have the Raft series that's down at 192, and then you have sort of the Caterpillar series that is 500 plus. There isn't really many ships in that middle zone. The Hull B is moving up to 512. That was sort of the closest. But of course the Hermes carries all of its cargo internally compared to say the Hull series, which has it all external and much more vulnerable.
And we're going to talk more and more about that, you know, the differences between this ship and other cargo ships, especially with quite a few cargo ships coming online this year. You know, we know about the Hull B, the Raylan, even bigger ships like the Ironclad and stuff like that. And putting the SCU carry capacities aside, There's a lot of differences between all those ships in terms of how they carry their cargo internally, externally, all that kind of stuff. And I think we do have to kind of consider future gameplay stuff when trying to decide on a ship like this. So for example, is CIG at some point going to start to reintroduce those things like the pyro flare and other environmental hazards that do really affect whether cargo is held internally or externally? Or is it really only have a place when it comes to like piracy and stuff? So I don't know. I don't know the answer to that. We'll have to see, but again, it's just something to, that we have to sort of consider. So, all right, continuing on.
One of the things we realized when we were developing the ship was having a cargo space that is quite short but very wide, and then trying to bring the cargo into the space was quite difficult. So a design team came up with this idea of having this tracked beam that ran on a rail through the center of the cargo space. And that really allows you to be able to pull that cargo in quite easily.
And the tractor beam can be controlled from either the co-pilot seat or a dedicated station at the rear of the ship.
So I want to point out one issue here that I've already seen with this ship. It's, I guess I would say it's a minor criticism, but it actually could turn into kind of a major criticism. The tractor beam control station is right where you see it. Obviously, it's kind of midways through the ship, but a little closer to the back, and it's close to it's sort of where the walls choke in just a little bit. My issue with that is that when you are bringing in large boxes, think about 32 SCU cargo containers and stuff like that. You're bringing them in, you're maneuvering them. If everything's smooth and going well, it's probably going to be fine. However, your character is technically standing in the choke point of where cargo is being brought in. And I can already see there's going to be situations where people bring in a box, it has a little glitch or a little bug or something, and your character is right in the way, and the corner of the box hits your character gets knocked out, whatever the case may be. I personally would have preferred if that tractor beam station had, control station had been like inset into the wall more than it is, maybe 2 feet into the wall, to where your character is sort of a little bit protected from the funnel that, cargo's coming in, especially bigger boxes. Again, if everything's running really smooth, and you can just slowly and carefully load your cargo, you're going to have any issues. But if you're just chucking stuff in there because maybe, you're in a hostile area or something like that, I could see that being maybe problematic. So just a minor thing, but could be a major thing.
So if you've ever had problems playing Cargo Tetris, then the Hermes might be the ship for you.
So in terms of paints on the Hermes, the default paint is kind of a nod back to the Zeus CL, so another cargo ship from RSI. We thought it'd be nice to kind of continue that theme and that brand recognition across the cargo ships on the RSI lineup. The Apollo was quite a serious ship, so for the paints for the Hermes, we thought we'd have a bit more fun. We've got a nice two-tone black and yellow.
Yeah, I like that.
We've got a purple, yellow and white. And because Jared cries when we don't, and is quite persistent at coming and appearing at my desk, we also did the disco paint that we did for the RSI Meteor. So it builds on that brand recognition, and it keeps Jared happy.
Yay!
This ship is obviously for those focused on cargo hauling.
We brought that up, Execute.
But
We
you can
did
also
bring that
fit
up.
quite a lot of our smaller ground vehicles in it, so it's a great little ship to reposition things around. A lot of people have said that they love the Apollo's look, but don't like the medical gameplay, so this really is the ship for those people. It's fast, sleek, and is very just versatile ship, so I think people are going to enjoy it.
So again, I think overall this ship makes sense. I totally understand why they've made it. I wouldn't call it the most exciting ship because we've seen its exterior before, the interior for the most part, and then the interior part of the ship that has changed is just really a big open space. It's not like there's some new gameplay element in there that makes it new, exciting, and spicy. So while not an exciting ship, I think it's a very useful ship and a ship that will serve a lot of people well. I think there's going to be a lot of people really interested in this. So it's one of those situations where I say, this is a good ship. I think a lot of people, it's going to be a popular ship. It's just not the most exciting ship to kick off the year with. And then my only criticism from a function standpoint is where that tractor beam station is. Again, I just think it's a little silly to have your character standing where the choke point for cargo being brought in is. I don't think it's going to be something that happens often, but I definitely think there's going to be situations where you're bringing boxes in and you hit your character with the box and knock yourself out while you're trying to bring the cargo in. And this is sort of funny and is slowly becoming one of the things I look at with cargo ships after I've learned the hard way a few times. I learned this with the Star Lancer, is that there's a lot of cargo ships that look great in the marketing videos, but when you actually use them day in and day out, under fire, all that kind of stuff, you start to see issues with how the cargo is loaded, like how you get the cargo onto the ship. And this is another one of those. This is another one of those where I kind of see a vulnerability there. It's why I am looking so carefully now at ships like the Hull B, which was a ship I was not interested in. Obviously the Ironclad is one I've long been interested in, but generally any ship that just has a big open area that I can just chuck boxes in really quick, just from a pure gameplay perspective, day in, day out type gameplay, those ships work the best. I've said this multiple times, but the Asgard has ended up being a really great cargo ship for me. I forget how much SCU it carries. It's like 188 or 200 or something, but you can fit way more in there than that. And to be honest with you, especially during events, when I'm loading cargo, so many times I'm flying down to an area, there's fighting going on, shooting going on. I don't have time to lock everything to the grid. I'm just chucking it in the ship as quickly as possible and getting the hell out of there. And so I got to tell you, the Asgard has really turned into a great cargo ship for me. I know a lot of people say the Raft as well. Yep, I think the Raft is done really well in its redesign. Ships that you can either chuck the cargo in, or ships that you can access the grid really, really quickly and easily, like the Raft. This is another reason why I think the Hull B and the Ironclad are going to be so successful. One of them has the cargo outside, easy to access, and the other one, the Ironclad, has just a big giant open box. You just chuck boxes in. You don't need to get them on the grid. Just chuck them in there and you're good. The question mark is still out, of course, on the rail end, because we don't know how cargo is actually going to load onto it. So that one will be a little interesting. But generally, again, I think how you get the cargo on the ship is just as, if not more important than how much cargo it carries. Okay. I really do think that. And that's just been something I've learned over time buying some ships that didn't work out. Okay.
So from what I'm seeing in the chat, it looks like when you're on that station, you are currently invulnerable.
Yeah, that's good. That's a good solution. But for it, like, here's the weird thing about that. That is a quote unquote good solution, but it's also not a great solution, because it sort of violates what CIG's been doing on their with everything else and making everything physical all the time. This, that, and the other. It's like, okay, well, when you're here, you're invulnerable. It just seems like a design misstep. If you are invulnerable, great, but it is a little weird that you're invulnerable there, right? So, I mean, I don't know. I think they could have easily solved that just by insetting the tractor beam control station or locating it towards the back of the cargo bay. But, you know, again, minor quibble, but something to think about. I see Snipey says Anvil Liberator better than Ironclad. You know, it's weird. I actually think of those as two different ships. Now, Anvil Liberator versus Ironclad Assault, I think there's a more interesting discussion there. I still think they're pretty different, to be quite honest with you. I look at the Anvil Liberator as a ship carrier, and the Ironclad is more of a ground vehicle and cargo mover. So slightly different roles, but I can see the thinking there. In terms of which one's better, we'll have to see him in game. It's hard to determine which one is the winner out of those two. But personally, for myself, I think the Ironclad is going to be the one. Okay, we're going to look at the RSI Hermes page now real quick. Again, everyone, if you want to get in on the RSI Hermes giveaway, we're going to give this away on February 1st, which is this Sunday. Go to the links pinned to the top of chat, and you can get in on this giveaway, okay? All right, let's say here, designed to deliver large capacity, fast pace, high endurance, the Hermes redefines medium freight for our increasingly fractured universe. True to form, RSI delivers opportunities for new endeavors with this small crew, large payoff hauler. Whatever it takes, whenever it takes you, the Hermes gets it done. Now, I'm just going to say, I know our boy executes in chat. I'm just going to say, they just keep repeating freight and cargo over and over again. It's almost like they're trying to make sure execute knows it's not a data runner. And by the way, everybody, chat bot is not running tonight. So if you do have a question, please put it in brackets. We will try to grab it, and we're going to circle back around to those, okay? Cool image here. There is a Hermes trailer. We're going to watch that real quick. Let's go ahead and give that a watch. Cool trailer already.
Secure. I just got. What's going on? We're getting snagged.
Ah, the sound effects are great. Hey, this is a little bit like the Kraken trailer. That's a cool trailer. There it is, RSI Hermes trailer. I like the trailer, actually. I thought they did a great job. It had those Kraken trailer vibes where the ship is being surrounded by the pirates and all that kind of stuff. Only this one, the Hermes escapes, and the Kraken trailer, obviously the Kraken shows up and goes full-on God tier on everybody. But yeah, very cool trailer. CIG never disappoints on the trailers, though, anymore. Although I do have to say, CIG... the one ship trailer I do not like is for one of my favorite ships. And I get what you were trying to do. I'm just saying it's not my favorite. And that is the Drake Corsair. If you all remember, they did like a ASMR video for the Corsair. And it was cool, but I still kind of wish I had the proper Corsair trailer. I'm just gonna say that. But anyways, here we go. Possibility, maximized payload, minimized crew. Again, going for that low crew count, maximum payload. With generous internal storage capacity of 288 SCU, it's a good amount of SCU, and solo operational setup, the Hermes brings a wealth of new opportunities to your launch pad. Is it possible to control the tractor beam from the pilot seat or the co-pilot seat? Does anyone know? I haven't checked it. By the way, we're
from the co-pilot seat.
Oh, okay.
And the terminal.
Okay, well, that's pretty good. That alleviates some of my issue there. And we are going to check the Q&A, by the way, and maybe it answers that question. But that would definitely help out there. By the way, everyone, I am in the queue, but I'm 2,285, and it says 28 minutes. We'll either be able to log in or we won't. We'll try. I'll see what I can do. But some really cool images, again, showing off the large extended cargo area. See, for example, and like where he's standing right now, they could have easily put him on the other side of this corner and he would have been protected. It would have been an issue at all. Again, it's a minor thing. Maybe they make you invulnerable there. I don't know. I feel like that's like a perfect opportunity for someone to troll something or you know, oh, I'm in combat, I'm just going to run and get on the control station and now I can't be killed. And there's a bunch of reasons why I don't think that's a great solution, but cool. Yeah, co-pilot seat was mentioned in the video. Okay. I missed that, but good to hear. Good to hear. Again, showing some more cargo loading going here. They talk about the rail-mounted tractor beam provides smooth and easy, efficient cargo loading. Yeah, really cool. I love that's an actuated tractor beam that can move front and back. I'm kind of interested to try that controls, you know, that control, you know, articulation on it. That'll be kind of nice. Solomon says it's bugged on the co-pilot seat. That sounds about right. Hermes is built for practicality in unexpected eventualities. That's a hell of a mouthful. Its armored exterior, dedicated weaponry, and exceptional nav speed means you can escape the dangers of space with your cargo intact. Nice to see that it got a bit of a weapons boost, armor boost, speed boost. Kind of nice. I was thinking they would probably do that with this ship. I actually thought it was going to get a rear turret, but it's interesting to see that it didn't. Here's some specifics on the ship. Again, not a lot of difference here from the Apollo. 65 meters in length, 288 SCU of carry capacity, one size 2 tractor beam, and 2 size 4 pilot-controlled turrets, and 1 remote turret with 2 size 4 pilot-controlled turrets, and 1 remote turret with dual size 4s, which is nice. Couple different paints here. Let's go through those. We got the factory standard blue and yellow highlights. I like that a lot. Really like that, actually. Looks really good. I want them to do that paint job for the Perseus. I think we have one that's similar to this for the Polaris. I forget what they call that, like Cirrus or something like that. It's like my favorite paint job for it.
Cirrus. It's a lighter blue though.
It is a lighter blue.
Yeah, I wish we had better definition of paint on the Polaris.
Yeah, I do too. I think it's still a little muddy looking. I will say this, one of the big reasons I'm looking forward to the ability to paint our own ships at some point, which believe it or not, I actually think is coming maybe soonish. But is that I would love to have certain manufacturer lines of ships I own to kind of match. Like I would love for my Polaris, my Perseus, and my Galaxy to all match. I think that'd be kind of cool. Maybe it's your org colors, maybe it's just a paint scheme you like, whatever it is. But yeah, we got the Paragon, which is purple and gold, white, purple, and gold highlights. Pretty cool. Kind of like that one actually. Honor Bound, that's a great name. Green with bronze highlights. This is the limited edition paint. It's included with the War Bond pledges or available separately. So, you know, every now and then they do a limited edition paint, sort of a time limited paint, and that's what's that's the one you're seeing here. Disco. This is the, you know, the blue with the black and red highlights. They did this for the Meteor. Lockdown. This is black with yellow highlights. I really like this one. Those of you know I'm a Drake fan, so obviously black and yellow I love on any ship, and I think it works here. I think it works. And then Tripline, black with silver accents, exclusive to members of the Chairman Club. This is a really, really nice paint. I love that they kind of went black and silver this time instead of black and gold. I thought it looked pretty slick. If I was to fly this around, if I was to fly this ship, I'd probably be running with this paint, the Tripline, or believe it or not, the factory standard. Those are my two favorite paints. I think they chose the right paint for the factory standard paint, by the way. There's the ship laid out. I mean, CIG is not wrong. I mean, I don't know what you think about this, Art, but what they're doing, for those of you unaware, is, you know, when it comes to this ship, when it comes to other ships, they're taking ships that are very niche in terms of their role, and they're making sort of general purpose ships with them to expand their appeal across the player base. And it does make sense from just a pure monetization standpoint. You want as many people as possible to own certain ships so that so for example, if you had a game of 100 people played, which I'm just using low round numbers, but if you had a game that 100 people played and only 2 people flew the Apollo, well, by making a ship like the Hermes that maybe appealed to 40 people, the Hermes and the Apollo share so much that when you do updates to the, required updates to the Apollo, those can apply to Hermes as well and apply to more players. It's just a good use of your artists and game developers' time, because they're working on stuff that applies to more players. So it makes sense from that standpoint. They've done this on other ships too. For example, the Valkyrie sort of turned into the Asgard, the Prowler turned into the Prowler Utility, the Mantis turned into the Meteor. So this is not anything new. I would expect them to continue to do this sort of thing. So any ship that's kind of niche, I would honestly expect to see either alternate roles or general purpose variants of it come. I mean, just riffing off the top of my head, could we see a variant of the Eclipse? Maybe. Or just take any ship that is kind of like a niche role and will CIG make a variant of it? It's possible. Again, it may not be the most exciting thing in the world, and I know a lot of people don't like it, but I get it. It does make sense.
Well, what I would like to kind of see in this, instead of doing a completely change to a hull design or some form or fashion, is just, we know that this one has larger nacelles than, say, the Apollo does. Yeah. Then just sell me that kit so I can swap between the two.
Yeah.
Sell me the kits. Now, add a time to it. Add something to it to kind of, so I can't just flip things and in an hour I can take a ship out, put the work into it. But I think I would like it more. It would be more tolerable, I think, in that format where ship parts matter.
Yeah.
Over just here's a hull here, go buy this hull over here for the same thing. I mean, the same thing between what they did with the Wolf and the Alpha Wolf.
Yeah.
Just sell me the different kit, and I'll pay the difference.
Right.
And do it that way.
Yeah, and and someone who is it? Socially Confused brings up in chat, they're going to do that to the Mole here shortly too, and we get the salvage variant of that. I totally see what you're saying. I know Dusty Star would love it for it to be implemented like you're saying, Art, just because he could run his scrapyard business. But I think it would add a lot of really cool, say modularity. It's really like interactability with our ships to be able to switch things out like that. Even if it had to be done there through the ASOP terminal. I do think it's interesting too that, it makes sense that this is the Hermes, like a completely different name ship, not like an Apollo Hermes or anything like that, because this is no longer a modular ship. It's just a big open cargo ship. They didn't slice it up to where it still used the modular system that the Apollo used. So for example, there was part of me that wondered if the Hermes would be modular, and then maybe there was like a general cargo module, but then you could switch that out for a module that had general cargo area, but then also shielded cargo area for smuggling. So I didn't know how they were going to do that, but again, it's interesting that they did not go that route. They just went full on. This is a new ship, very, very similar to the Asgard in terms of how they treated this one. Very similar to the Asgard. So it's based off the Apollo. They did make some exterior changes. And you know what? I would actually say that they didn't make enough exterior changes. I was hoping for a little bit more Greeble difference, only because, again, thinking about new players that come into this game, someone shows them the Apollo, says, hey, this is a really cool medical ship. It's awesome. That person's like, oh, I want the Apollo. They go on the website and they see this and they go, oh, look, it's the Apollo. And then they end up buying the Hermes. Again, I don't think that's going to happen very often. They do have the name Hermes on the exterior of the ship. They did make some changes, but it's very, very minimal. So I wish there was a few more. I see Tristbone in chat. Trist, we showed your silhouette video at the beginning of the stream. Everyone seemed to enjoy it. We linked to your channel. Congratulations. It's getting a lot of views. Here is the prices. So War Bond is $200 for the Hermes. There is obviously the Chairman's Club variant, and the regular variant comes with the standard paint and then that Honor Bound paint or whatever it's called. Chairman's Club comes with those 3 paints, the Honor Bound, the factory default, and then of course the Chairman's Club paint. Standalone though, non-War Bond, $220. And then you can obviously buy the paint packs as usual. And then you can do your upgrades. Now, from an upgrade standpoint, I think this ship is really a good option for anyone who's currently running like a raft, or especially the Zeus CL, maybe the Freelancer Max, any of those kind of ships. I think this is the step up from that. This is where you go. Maybe the Spirit C1, you know, if you're operating on those cargo ship levels and you want to take that next step, go to a slightly bigger ship with a little bit bigger carry capacity, then the Apollo, or I just call it the Apollo, the Hermes is definitely not a bad ship to consider. So again, like I've said, this isn't the most exciting ship, but it's going to be a very useful ship, a very popular ship. And honestly, if you are looking for a competent, you know, cargo hauler at around this size, this seems like a good choice. Like, I don't think you're going wrong by upgrading from any of those ships to this ship if you desire. The Apollo and now the Hermes have got a lot of cool, like, just features that CIG did, you know, with the airlock in terms of getting to the bridge, just different things like that. I think CIG nailed on this ship. So I don't think if you opt for the Hermes in any way, I don't think that's a bad decision. It seems pretty solid. Again, everyone, if you are interested in the Hermes, want a chance at winning one, you can go to the Gleam link pinned to the top of both chats, Twitch and YouTube. You can go to that link, and there is some ways to enter to win. We'll give this away on Sunday, February 1st. We're going to do it live on stream. We're going to give this ship away. And I may throw in like a Chairman's Club paint or something like that with it. Okay. So there you go. Thank you for the follows, everyone. We've had a lot of follows because of the giveaway, so it's a little hard to read all of your names out, but thank you very, very much. We do have the ability to go into game and check it out, which we're going to try, so bear with me here. It does look like we got in. Let me get past the character. I'm stuck in the character screen real quick here. Let me get past this, and we will check it out in game. I know you can't see anything right now, but bear with me. Okay, let me see if I can switch over to my main monitor. It's making me go through all this first before it will load me in. Okay, 1 second. All right, I'm going to switch me over to the main monitor here. There we go. There we go. Okay, let me switch this over to the main monitor. How do I do that? And we'll take a look at it. Okay, oops, 1 more second, everybody. Bear with me. Gotta get the chat. So, okay, here we go. We'll load in and we will check it out. I mean, you know, I forgot about the Starlancer Max. You know, I was kind of a Starlancer Max champion for a while there. I do love the look of the Starlancer series. I think CIG nailed that. I know a lot of people had a lot of issues with the internals of the Starlancer, but I actually kind of like them. There's a wasted space, yes, but it's a great RP ship. My issue with the Starlancer Max, though, is how you load cargo in its spinal cargo areas. When you fill them up, to get cargo out of there is such a nightmare. And the fact that it's such tight tolerances means that when you're moving cargo boxes in there, it's just constantly banging and sparking and this and that and the other from the physics interactions, that it doesn't seem like an elegant cargo loading procedure. It just seems like you're beating the shit out of your ship. So, so anyway, all right, let's load up the Hermes. I believe CIG supplied us with one to check out here. Just type in our handy search bar here. request delivery. We go back and we will, oops, see if it works. Socially confused as he removes the spinal cargo from the catwalk. Works much better. That's a good tip to know.
Welcome to the ASOP vehicle.
All right, let's see here if it will let me. Okay, there it is.
Your vehicle has been
Okay, we'll check it out here. Raptorman Inc. says, will there be a Hermes Max? Doubtful. I mean, I think they stretched this to the limit in terms of how much cargo it can hold. That's a weird graphical bug. Interesting. So yeah, I think they probably stretched it to the limit. Art, is the Hermes a ship that is on your radar, so to speak? Is it one you're interested in?
Absolutely not. I've got so much. It's not. It's not exciting. It's not. It doesn't bring anything additional. Okay, you get a tractor beam in it, sure.
Yeah.
But I can also just use my handheld tractor beam. I know a couple people in the org have it, and they're excited to use it, especially in this new Levski playthrough.
Yeah.
For this event, but you know, it just nothing about the ship excites me. It's just kind of there. And
yeah. I tell you, I mean, for this Levski thing, the ship I'm probably going to use is probably going to be the Asgard again. You know, it's got kind of everything on offer for an event like this, so it's probably the ship I'm going to use.
I'm just going to be a hermit and throw everything in my Polaris.
There you go. Nothing wrong with that. First off, I'm a box chucker. Okay, so just saying.
Throw it all in there. Top of the hangar, side of the hangar.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter.
All right, so I can tell right off the bat that the engines do look a little bit bigger. They do look chunkier, that's for sure. Since not much has changed on the exterior, we won't bother with the exterior tour. Well, maybe we will in a minute, but we'll go ahead and just pop the back open. Still have the nice little hologram there when the ramp opens. And then, of course, there is our cargo entryway. You can see they changed the way this looks on the side. They still have those see-through hydraulic compartments, just like the Zeus, which is kind of nice. I like that they carried over a little bit of that RSI stuff. Suit lockers and weapon racks on both sides of the rear. Yeah, okay. I'm assuming this is component. Yeah, batteries and batteries on this side and shields, and then on this side we have shields and gravity generator. Then obviously some relays and a computer, which is interesting. This is cool. I guess we'll have a computer. I wonder if we'll be able to fully remove the computer things, or if it's just going to be a rack in there that we pull blades in and out of. Hopefully we'll be able to interact with that on the physical level. There's our tractor beam station, obviously, and then our cargo bay. So again, a lot of room here, but overall a low ceiling. So you're still going to be limited into how you bring cargo in. Again, more components here. And then our bridge area, which is predominantly the same. So we're going to go back here. We're going to go and try out the... yeah, I agree, North. It is kind of a tiny entryway for a 32 SCU box. This is why I said that I'm a little concerned about the boxes knocking the character, although I know they're, you know, invulnerable. So, okay, so here is the tractor beam. Now, how do you actuate it? That's my question. What are the buttons to move it? Okay, should be S. Oh, yeah, there it is. Okay, so it's sort of two areas. So you can do out here, which is nice. You get a good view out the rear. S and W. Got it. Thank you, guys. Appreciate it. And then press S again. So it's just S. So S will bring it then back. You move the box directly in. You know what? That's actually kind of nice. It's just got the two positions because that's really the only two positions you would want. You'd bring a box up to this level. You get it lined up, positioned really well to come through the door, and then you'd hit S, and then it pulls it right back and through. move the box over, lock it into place. So from a tractor beam usability standpoint, I think this is a pretty nice setup they got going on here. I dig it.
Now, I've seen a lot of people upset for the fact that they can't fit a NERSA in this thing. Do you think that that's why they did the entrance the way they did, so that you couldn't fit one in here?
I don't know if CIG is always like overly concerned with what ground vehicles can and will fit, but the NERSA is, or well, I guess I would say this: the URSA-sized vehicles. So I think that would be the URSA and the MDC. I think the MDC and MTC are actually the same size as the URSA. I think it's a width issue, obviously, and I think it, you know, I don't know. I don't think they go out of their way to make it not fit. I think it's just one of those things where it just sort of, you know, if it limits it to where, oh, this can only carry smaller vehicles up to like Cyclone size, then they're fine with that. I don't think that like hurts CIG's feelings. I don't think that they really, from everything they've said, I don't think that they really care about making every ship capable of carrying every vehicle. I think it's always been sort of, if it fits, it fits. If not, it doesn't. And the reason I say that is because there doesn't really seem to be any hard and fast metrics to it. There's some ships that an URSA literally can't fit in because of like 5 pixels of geometry, and then there's other ships where an URSA can't fit in because there's a very large piece in the way, that where an entire, entire like quarter of a meter of the URSA can't fit in. So I know it seems to be a little bit all over the place, and I don't know if CIG is working on any like hard and fast metrics for that. Generally, what you see John Cruz say in these situations is he'll say, well, if such and such vehicle is the same size of a Cyclone, it'll fit because it can fit a Cyclone, or it'll fit an URSA. But kind of those are really the only, there's sort of 3 levels. There's the small vehicle sort of side, which is like the Pulse and the PTV and all that stuff. Then you go up to like the Cyclone size, and then you go up to the URSA size, and then beyond that you're talking like Nova and Atlas, and you're talking like bigger ground vehicle movers. So if you want to call those metrics, then I guess they're metrics, but I don't think personally don't think CIG looks at it that way. Okay, let me switch us back over real quick here to the left monitor. Hold on a minute, everybody. So again, not like a lot to see there. I mean, it's not like it's, it's just an Apollo with a big hollowed out interior and kind of an interesting tractor beam layout. Again, that's why I say it's not the most exciting thing in the world, but probably a ship that will be pretty popular for people. Okay. Let's go to the Q&A real quick here. This may answer some of our questions, obviously. While the Hermes is designated as medium freight, the term blockade runner has been used throughout its development. What does that mean? It says here, a blockade runner is a cargo ship used to circumvent any enemy forces surrounding a port or other heavily defended position. So it means just essentially going fast in one direction. And that's sort of what they reference here with the main thrusters and the armor. I hadn't heard of it listed as, or called a blockade runner. Maybe people calling it a data runner? Is data runner and blockade runner the same thing? I don't know.
I think those are 2 different things.
Yeah, I don't consider them the same thing, because the merchantman was considered a blockade runner at one point. With 288 SEU, how does its cargo capacity stack up against other medium haulers? What is its direct competitors, and what sets the Hermes apart? So this here, it sets itself apart from other medium freighters such as the Raft and Hull B, as its cargo is stored internally rather than externally. Compared to the Constellation Taurus, Mistar Lancer Max, it provides much more capacity despite being physically shorter. There you go. It says here, where could the Hermes fit an individual or group fleet, or fit into an individual or group fleet? These are always weird questions to me. It's going to fit into a fleet based off what job you envision your fleet doing. You know what I mean? It's kind of a weird question. How does the Hermes compare to the Apollo in terms of performance and handling? CIG already went over to that, and they say here, and will Apollo paints be compatible with the Hermes? That's the big question. says here, the Hermes is a separate chassis rather than an Apollo variant, so paints are not compatible between them. I believe that has been the standard. Chat, you can correct me if I'm wrong on that. But I believe when it's a wholly new variant that the paints don't carry over. Was it like that on the Mantis and Meteor? I think so, right? I'm pretty sure that was the case. Says here, what's the maximum container size you can fit into the interior cargo hold? It says it can carry 32 SCU cargo containers. Does the cargo bay support standard containers owner, or can it handle vehicles too? Obviously, it can handle vehicles because they showed it handling vehicles. It says up to Tumbrel Cyclone size. What drove the design philosophy of the Hermes and the short and wide cargo hold compared to other haulers? Says here it was a function of the cargo bay was a function of the ship's shape and desire to keep the cargo bay metrics to standard SCU volumes rather than min-maxing all the available space, which I get, and I'm glad they do. It kind of simplifies the grid a little bit. Some older ships have taller cargo grids, but feedback from players has been that these are a challenge to manage. So for the Hermes, we tried to avoid that. Now, that is true. On the Asgard, its higher cargo area is hard to access unless you're loading slow and methodically. But for me, that's only going to be a thing when I have plenty of time to load slowly and carefully. 90% of the time, even though I count myself as a cargo runner, 90% of the time I am chucking that cargo into the cargo hold like someone trying to do a layup with a basketball. It's not pretty. I get it in there and I fly and do my thing. It's about keeping downtime or friction to a minimum. So yeah. When the Hermes is fully loaded with cargo, do players still have clear access to the components for engineering gameplay? Yes, that was clear. There's a walkway through the middle of the Hermes. Don't need to be a genius to see that. How does the tractor beam on rails work? Well, we just did that. You hit the S key and it will toggle between inside the ship and to the rear ramp. Can the pilot handle all the cargo operations solo, including controlling the tractor beam, or does efficient loading require a dedicated co-pilot? It says the Hermes is fully soloable, as you can fly and land the ship from the pilot seat, then jump over to the co-pilot seat for the dedicated station in the rear, or the dedicated station in the rear of the ship. I wouldn't call that totally soloable. To be totally honest with you, I'd call that like a two-person ship, because I do think there's going to be future scenarios where pilots will not want to leave their ship, like the pilot seat of their ship. But could you run this solo? Absolutely, shouldn't be any problems there. And it says here, what's the Hermes' ability to fight back when intercepted during a cargo run? And then they talk about the weapons again. So again, kind of a weird question. So there you go. RSI Hermes. Chat, sound off. If you like the ship, press 1. If you don't like it, press 2. If you're indifferent and don't give a rat's ass, press 3. I'd like to see it in chat. I want to see what people think here. 1 for you like it, 2 for you don't like it, 3 you're just meh. You're meh on it. VMXEO came in with a 3. He's meh on it. Here's the thing, everybody. If this is a ship you're going after, you're buying, or you're trying to win the giveaway, this is a great ship. I actually do think that. I think this is a fantastic cargo ship. If you're looking for a cargo ship. However, it's just that there's not a lot of like pomp and circumstance around it. There's not a lot of excitement around it. You know what I mean? It's not like fireworks are going off because of the release of this thing. The funny thing is if this came out before the Apollo, like if this was the first of these series of ships to release, I think it definitely would have been exciting and all that kind of stuff. But for the most part, it's a hollowed out Apollo. But nothing wrong with that. Again, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. You know, it's, again, I think this is going to be a solid ship. And actually, this is a ship that, or you may agree with this, but I consider this a ship, a solid recommendation ship for someone wanting to get into the game, and maybe they want to spend around that 200, 220 mark. Like if that's their budget, or maybe they've got a starter pack, but they want to upgrade to just a solid general purpose ship. I think this is an excellent recommendation. I don't think you could go wrong recommending this ship.
I would tend to agree with you on it. I mean, love it or hate it, it's pretty easy ship. There's not a lot of places for somebody to get turned around or confused about directions and all that other stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. All right. Let's talk about the next thing. We talked about the Hermes. We're doing a Hermes giveaway. All you got to do is go to the Gleam link pinned to the top of YouTube or Twitch chat. Going to be doing that giveaway on Sunday, February 1st. We'll do it live on stream. So get in on that. There's a number of ways to enter. By the way, we passed 7,600 followers on Twitch. We're now at 7,604 followers. We're at 16,400 something subscribers on YouTube, which is amazing. Thank you all. Really do appreciate it. Now let's talk about Alpha 4.6 Lifeline for Levski. Okay. This is an interesting patch. I've heard a lot of people talking about it. Some people feel disappointed about it. Some people are really excited about it. I was kind of indifferent to this patch and the stuff coming with it. But the more I've learned about it and seen some of the stuff you get from it, completing it, I'm actually pretty excited about it. So let's go to it. It's called A Lifeline for Levski, and it says here on the front page here, you have been exposed to Molina. Molina, am I saying that right? Yeah, Molina. Molina mold is kind of the thing happening here. It's caused by either a defect or contamination of these air filters. I think they're called Glycine, something like that. Air filters. Glycine air filtration systems, and that mold is causing this outbreak. Okay, we'll watch the trailer here to 4.6.
This is James Harriman with another SSN Newsflash. Reports continue to rush in following the outbreak of a new and devastating disease set to overwhelm Levski. As cases of infection accelerate in Nix, the UEE advises extreme caution when traveling to the area. If you have had possible exposure to faulty Glycine air filtration systems and are experiencing any of the following symptoms, the UEE urges you to seek medical help immediately. These are headaches, depression, joint aches, chronic fatigue, and trouble breathing. As the death toll continues to climb, the People's Alliance have issued a plea for volunteers to help Alliance Aid in managing this spiraling situation. Until next time, this is James Harriman reporting.
There we go. There's the trailer. Let's go back to the page here. One second. Okay. Says here, everyone can help. Alliance Aid needs you. This is one of those things. I forget which one this one is similar to. There's a mission. Was it Supply or Die? I can't remember. There was an event last year where this is very similar to it. There's a bunch of different types of missions. There's combat missions, cargo missions, hauling missions, support missions, all kinds of stuff like that. So there's a lot of different inroads to play this gameplay and get in on this event. So for those of you that like, industrial or hauling profession, or, gameplay loops, you can be able to do that. Those of you that like to get out there, shoot, fire torps and all that, there's stuff for that, which is good. I personally like them to do that for every event. Not that I don't think that there can't be some events that are strictly combat events or PvP events or industrial events that don't have any combat. I think they can do that, but I think when they have these larger events that do have a bunch of inroads into, interact or involving yourself in the gameplay or in that particular event, I think that's always a win. Obviously, they go through some reward stuff here, which is pretty cool. I wish these pictures were bigger. I don't like that they made them so small. But the 30% reward, you get this cool outfit here. So I think this one says, is this the same outfit? Yeah, support unit outfit. Again, they don't give you the names for them, though, or maybe they do down here. 70%, you get an Asgard paint, which I love the look of this. I'm going to do the event right away just to get the damn Asgard paint. At 90%, you get the Apollo paint. At least that looks like an Apollo. Yep. And then 100% rewards. Kind of interesting. You get a Perseus, you get this med device, and then a fabrication machine. Now, I'm a little confused, and chat, maybe you can help me. Do you get the fabrication device, or are you just getting the paint scan for fabrication devices when those come out? Art, do you happen to know?
I do not know.
Actually, let's
I
go.
would assume it would probably be a skin.
Yeah, because let me go to the Spectrum page here. Chat, if you know. So Mayor of Wanson says skin, maybe, and that sounds like it would be right here. Let's see what they say here on the Spectrum thing here. Let's see. Do they talk about that at all? See, right here at 100% for the overall awards, they say the item fabricator ready make, quote unquote, alliance aid. So it actually kind of sounds like you're getting the fabricator with the skin on it, but obviously you won't be getting the fabricator until fabricators are out.
Yeah, note it says the items fabricator red make alliance aid will only be available once
That's
crafting.
Yeah. It says here the skin showcases the effort. So it is a skin, but I think you'll probably get a fabricator with it. Is what I think. So, anyways, I think pretty cool rewards. Then there's some like sub, rewards down here. There's one for the transport missions, which gives you something for the Argo raft. The max life tractor beam, some sort of vest or gear or something like that, and then the raft paint. There's one for collections, which is a paladin. I'm guessing paladin has some combat stuff in it because you get some guns, you get a paladin paint, and some more armor, and then defense, which you get it's Apollo paint and some sort of mask, helmet, whatever it is, and then some armor as well. So there we go. And then obviously there's some ship deals to go along with this too. The Apollo and series Hermes is out. Asgard, which I've been talking about constantly. Super happy with that ship. I'll probably be using it during this event. Avenger Titan, Hermes, Hull A, Paladin, Perseus, Prospector, Raft, and there you go. What do you think about this event? Or is this one to interest you? Or are you going to be grinding this out?
Yeah, I think a lot of us in the org are actually pretty excited to tackle this. I do like that they've added not only like a big mission tree where you can kind of just, everybody can kind of do their own thing and you're making points left and right, but they also added a personal one too.
Yeah.
It makes me, I got to put some additional effort into it, and I don't mind.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I don't mind grinds if the reward is cool and I really like it. I don't mind a grind. You know what I mean? Sergeant Perry, I see that now. Thank you very much. Yeah, there's defensive and collection rewards. Those are switched up. That makes a lot more sense. It says here, obviously, where does the event take place? You'll be traveling between multiple multiple systems to deliver supplies, most relief effort coordinating from Stanton to help the affected population in Levski and Nick. So you're going to be doing a lot of traveling from Stanton to Levski. Makes sense. And it says here you can accept the event's missions anywhere, which is cool. It says here, I'm going to skip, do you need a specific ship or equipment? Obviously not really. Other than ships to actually do what you're trying to do. It says here, who are the Moraine and why are they involved? The Moraine is a loyal syndicate of thieves and smugglers that operates a highly profitable smuggling ring across Nyx's many jump points. Since weakened, People's Alliance would only strengthen their own hold on the system. They're eager to exploit the Melina mold crisis by hijacking delivery ships carrying medical supplies and filters and holding mold-infected victims in cryopods for ransom. So it sounds like a wonderful group of people. The Alliance Aid Defense Division contracts specifically counter these criminal activities by protecting convoys, eliminating gang targets, and recovering stolen supplies before more lives are lost. So there it is, everybody. Alpha 4.6 Lifeline for Levski. Pretty cool. Exciting to see. I'm going to... Well, let me take these off there. Okay, we are going to go through the roadmap roundup, by the way. Yeah, I'm excited for this. It sort of feels like we're getting back to it. We're getting back to it just like we were doing last year, churning through all those events. I do like, though, that for all intents and purposes, we're going to be having more time to get through these events. So I heard a bunch of people say the grind is brutal for this one. I don't know if that's the case or not. I didn't do any of it on Evo or PTU. But what I will say is don't forget, we actually have a little bit more time on these now, where before we had it felt like we always had a month, and then CIG would artificially extend that 2 weeks because of bugs. Right from the outset, based off what Jared's told us, these events now, we're going to have a minimum of 2 months to work on them. And then remember, sometimes with bugs and stuff like that, CIG will add 2 or sometimes even 3 weeks extensions on these to finish them. So we have more time to get through these, which is great. It's going to allow me to slowly churn on it, and then when I get towards the end and I still haven't finished and we're getting close to time's up, I can call upon people like Art to just carry me through it without me doing any effort, obviously. I'm right on that,
sir.
Art.
At your service, as always.
Great.
I got some org mates that would love to help too.
Yeah,
they're being volunteered, told. Well, that's
I remember, I think it was Supplier Die. There was some
we won't talk about what happened in Supplier Die.
Well, I'll tell you.
I had good plans.
Well, I'll tell you, during Supplier Die, we had Space Dad. Thank you for the follow. And thank you everyone for the follow and subscriptions. I do appreciate it. We've had a lot of follows tonight, too many to name off, but I do appreciate you all. Thank you very much on both YouTube and Twitch. Absolutely amazing. But I will say that, during Supplier Die, I had someone from the community offer to help me out, and talk about helping me out. I mean, they saved me weeks of work. It was unbelievable. And it wasn't just because it was me. They were helping other people. They gave me a bunch of extra of the commodities that I needed so that I could sell or pass it on, they said, which I did. I just passed it on to the next player to help out. And that's a really cool thing that I do actually see in Star Citizen a lot. Yes, we have a lot of the people that will attack you on site sometimes and ruin your night. But we also have a lot of the people that will come out of the woodwork to help you. So it's a nice balance. It makes the game feel like a close-knit community. You can rely on people you meet out in the world, but also you got to keep your eyes open, right? Might be danger out there, which I think is a good balance for Star Citizen as a whole, in terms of just the vibe that is out there when you're playing the game. You know what I mean? As Bluesy says there in chat, it does take a village. Okay. Real quick, everybody. As you know, from time to time, we like to raise money for people that need a little bit of help. As you know, this is something that does pop up often for various things. We do St. Jude in May and April and May generally, although this year I'm going to have to think about it. I'm going to maybe do it a little bit of a different way. But either way, we like to do stuff like that. I've got another charity thing coming at the end of this year that I'm going to be involved in. But one of our own is in need. So if you don't mind helping out, STARJUMP Ender is currently roughing it through the perils of work, trying to find a job, trying to get things in his life in order. It's been pretty hard on him. That's why you have not seen him around. He's been focusing on priorities as he should, stuff that's not really gaming or STARJUMP related or any of that. He has more pressing things he needs to focus on, but money has been extremely difficult. So if you want to donate, all you need to do is you can go to my Coffee link, STARJUMP Grim. You can donate there. I just posted that in the chat. Feel free, and I'll make sure whatever is donated is passed on to STARJUMP Ender. I do appreciate that. Again, it goes a long way. We'll do more of that. I'll focus a little bit more of that on a stream later this week. But there you go. If you want to donate, feel free to. If you do not have the means, obviously you do not have the means. Do not put yourself in a bad position. But thank you very much. We got another thing to talk about here. I want to talk about Paratrooper says, I need help, but likely none of you are qualified to help me. Paratrooper, if the help you need is someone to cheerlead you, you've come to the right place. If you need anything else, I don't know what else we can do. We're going to go to the roadmap roundup real quick here. I have not looked at this, so I'm looking at this for the first time. It says here, notable changes for January 28th. Obviously, RSI Aurora Series Gold Standard, hitting the game with 4.6. So if you're an Aurora fan, check that out. This is not the Aurora Mark II. This is just the Aurora Gold Standard, okay? Just the Aurora Gold Standard. Obviously, Hermes has been released in 4.6. The MXOX Neutron Cannon Size 3, which says here, implementing a new weapon to Arena Commander, giving players a chance to test it ahead of its future release on the live servers and a future update. That's cool. I didn't know about this one. Does anyone know about the MXOX Neutron Cannon? Is it just an energy cannon? I'd love to know. I would love, and I'm sure you would be interested in this, Art, I would love to see the different weapon and ammo types come in game soon, like incendiary and stuff like that.
Giving gunners, turret gunners specifically, the options to really dictate how that weapon fires would be huge.
Yeah. I agree. It says here, ground vehicles missiles, implementing ground vehicle only missile variants available to the Cyclone AAMT, Nova Storm AA, and Ballista, with improved tuning to make atmospheric anti-air threats more dangerous. That's good to hear, because I do think as we get closer to base building, that's going to become a bigger deal. I really do. I think that's going to become a bigger deal. That's why I've been so excited about the MDC. Go ahead, Art.
I hope that with that, they will allow me to rearm the ballista. Mm-hmm. It is entirely infuriating that I can't pull a missile out and put it on the ballista and rearm it.
I agree. New resource gathering missions, obviously, implementing an expanding list of missions to our resource gathering archetype. Find, gather, and deliver raw or refined mineable ores or salvageable ship pieces for a variety of corporations, scheduled to come in a 4.6.x patch. Okay, so some new stuff for the 4.6 patch cycle. And then we got some stuff for 4.7. This is our first information on 4.7. It says here, implementing QV breaker stations in the Nix system throughout the Keeger belt. As you know, with 4.6, we're getting the Keeger belt as a location, or I think areas within Keeger belt. I forget. It was listed on the patch notes, but said is set to tentative. I guess this is for those breaker missions. Maybe they'll list that. It says here, Nix Missions Pack 2, adding a second pack of new missions to Nix, while also expanding some existing missions to be system-wide with the return of courier missions and other delivery missions. Cool. New Wicklow ship offerings. Wouldn't be a patch cycle without some Wicklow ships. Did we get any Wicklow ships for 4.6? I don't even know. Does anyone know in chat? Let me know. I'm curious. Does it list here? So with 4.7, we will get the RSI Apollo with upgraded components and a unique base livery. That'll be cool. That'll be a new Wicklow ship. New hairstyles in 4.7, adding 6 new hairstyles. They've been pretty regular with adding additional hairstyles, so that's something I've been really happy to see with CIG. Sometimes they say they'll keep adding to something and then you don't see it for 4 more years. But with hairstyles, they've been really pretty regular with adding more and more hairstyles to the game every patch. People's Service Station, implementing a social station in Nix managed by members of the People's Alliance. This service station offers a safe haven with basic restock, rearm, and refueling operations for pilots traveling through Nix. That's going to be great to see. I think Nix does need those. Heavy combat armor. I feel like we have a lot of heavy combat armor. I'm not super interested in that. And then light combat armor. So still pretty light on 4.7. I think the big thing with 4.7 is this first note here about the QV breaker stations. If they're trying to get those in for 4.7, it's very possible we're going to see the those asteroid breaker missions, that event, come in with 4.7.
Rock breaker.
The rock breaker, yes, the rock breaker. So that could be what these stations are. I think they are. So I know that rock breaker, while they showed it off as a mission, I think it's going to be a full-on event, just like we're getting the Molina Mold thing. I think the rock breaker is going to be some sort of event. Hell, what we might find out is if they try to do a long storyline this year again, who knows? Maybe we find some mineral deep inside some of these rocks that cures the Molina mold for all we know, and then the rock breaker missions come online. I don't know, but I think those are going to be part of that. So Sergeant Perry says it's a Hathor-like event where it's permanent. Cool. I would rather than be permanent. It'd still be cool if they tied into the event, but I would like as an event just to kick them off, but I would prefer them to be evergreen permanent missions. I've said this before several times that like, while I like events and I like all the events last year, what I would like to see CIG focus on more from a mission standpoint is getting more and more dynamic missions in the game based off circumstances and stuff. Missions will be generated. So yeah. Pain and Hate says it was a sandbox. I do remember that now. Yeah. So hopefully with, in the background in between all these events and stuff we get, we're going to be getting more and more sandbox permanent stuff, just like we did get a few of that last year. And then obviously, hopefully CIG is working on a lot of that dynamic stuff in the background as well. So, okay. We're going to get to some questions. And everyone, if you are donating to the coffee link for our good buddy Ender, thank you very much. I do appreciate that. I'll have a PayPal link for that set up later to make that easier. But for now, thank you very much. Do appreciate it. There's that link once more. Let's go to some questions. Art, what do we got, buddy? Let's go to the audience. Not a lot of questions today.
Not really. No. Yeah. VGZ Altez says, "Do you think the Atlas tractor, the projection snap function, is part of the Hermes rail tractor?"
I don't know. You know what? I didn't try it because I didn't have a box on standby. I guess I may have had a box in storage. Has anyone tried the Hermes tractor beam? Chat maybe can chime in on this. Is it like the Atlas tractor beam where it's got the sort of projection snap functionality, which is a good description of that, by the way, VG. GearCon, salute to you, buddy. Hope you're well. Salute to you. Nice to see you. I am not sure on that, VG, but maybe someone would chat will let us know. Socially Confused says it's like a normal ship tractor beam when he tried it. There you go. Dillman94 says, should the Apollo Hermes not have been a mini Galaxy one ship, one module option with module options? That's going to be sort of the great controversy, like what it should have been. I think there's arguments for it. The issue with that is that you get into a place where the modularity now is no longer relegated to just those two side medical rooms. Now the modularity is going to affect the rear entryway, where that tractor beam control station was. It starts to affect other things that are not just the modular rooms. If I can learn how to talk here. You know what I mean? It will not be just a modular room sort of thing. Okay. But yeah. Okay. Let's keep going. We got another question here. Sergeant Perry says, with mole variant coming, do you see a reclaimer mining variant? Or actually, sorry, I skipped one. We'll come back to that one, Sergeant. One Blissimo says, question, what was that flying wing B2 style silhouette in Triss video? So that was Triss speculating on what the Kruger Stingray is going to look like. We do know we're going to get another Kruger ship this year called the Stingray. We're expecting it to be a little bit of a larger ship. And he kind of had that sort of B2 flying wing style look to it. I would love if that's what it looked like, by the way. I would buy it in a heartbeat, even if the gameplay loop it ties into is a gameplay loop I do not like. So absolutely. I think that's the ship he was calling out there. Sergeant Perry says, with mole variant coming, do you see a reclaimer mining variant? No. And here's why. Very simple on this one. Well, real quick, I'm going to answer that, but Celix _ AE says, STARJUMP crew, I've been thinking about getting into this game. Is it worth it getting into it right now? Celix, hang on, because I'm going to answer that. I'm going to answer that for you, buddy. Hang on. Sergeant Perry, no, we're not going to get a Reclaimer mining variant because the Reclaimer needs heavy work, so CIG is not about to make a variant of it. And they've already got the Arastra, and I think the Arastra and the Orion sort of cover the mining end game. Now, not that they won't make another manufacturer that does mining at that scale, but we don't even have those two ships yet. So I don't know. I don't see it happening with the Reclaimer, but we'll see. And I think that's mostly because the Reclaimer needs so much work. Okay. Okay. All right. Celix _ AE says, STARJUMP crew, I've been thinking about getting into this game. Is it worth it getting into it right now? That's a great question, Celix. First off, if you do get into it, Celix, I encourage you to use my referral link, which I just posted there in chat. I do appreciate it. Trying to get my referrals up. Why, everybody? Because if we get to 50 referrals and we get and actually I'll go to it here. If we get to 50 referrals and we get to the MISC Raptor, we're going to add that into Fleet Viewer. There's the MISC Raptor. Currently, I'm at 19 referrals. Just did a little bit of self-pimping there. Gearcon, thank you for those 100 bits, buddy. I do appreciate you. Very generous as always. Is the game worth getting into right now? Well, here's the thing. That is very subjective. I'm going to have Art answer it, and anyone in chat, you feel free to answer as well. But here's Grimm's opinion. I do think it's worth it to get into it right now, as long as you get into it carefully and with a bit of understanding. It is definitely an alpha game, okay? I wouldn't even call it a beta yet because there's core, critical, gameplay, core tech, and gameplay loops that are not in yet. It is an alpha game. You can have a lot of fun in it. There's some great orgs. There's a great community. Getting into it now, I think, will allow you to learn the intricacies of what this game has to offer, where it's going, some of the ideas CIG is playing with at these early stages, and where it will probably end up by 1.0. You're going to see the good, the bad, and the ugly, by the way. You're going to see the things that work, and then you're going to see the things that don't work in this game and need to be fixed. And CIG will sometimes take and redo entire gameplay features. Okay? You are definitely part of development with this game. Right? So from that standpoint, if you're strong enough and mentally prepared, I do think it's good to get into it now. When I say get into it the right way, though, or smart, it means you can get into the game with just the starter pack, the $45 starter pack. You can use that referral link again. Get your starter pack, use that referral code. That'll give you 50,000 AUEC to start, which is great. And you will, you can pretty much do a lot of stuff with just a general starter gameplay package. I'm actually going to go to the shop. Let's go to the pledge store. A lot of times they have the starter packages right up here at the front, game packages. There's a lot of different game packages to choose from. They start at $45 for like a Mustang or a Mustang starter pack or something. But, and again, this is subjective. Other people are going to have their own ideas here. If I was getting into the game, I would do one of three. I would do one of three packages myself. Okay, here's what I would do. I would either do the generalist starter pack with the cutter, if I kind of didn't know what I wanted to do. If I wanted to do salvaging, I would do the RSI Salvation starter pack here, the Salvager starter pack. Or if I wanted to do mining, I'd do the mining starter pack. Those are probably what I would choose from. Okay. Now, if I was going to go combat, like if that's something I wanted to get into, I'd bump it up a bit and go with the advanced duelist starter pack because I really like the arrow. But in general, these are the three I would start with. Art, what do you think is the best starter package? What would you recommend?
It honestly, just to mirror what you were saying, it all kind of depends on what you are looking to do.
Yeah.
If you were literally just tipping your toes in it, I agree. The Mustang's a good place to start. It's not a whole lot of ship, but it's a quick recall ship. If you lose it and you die, you go to a station, you can recall it pretty cheap, pretty quickly. If you're looking for something like cargo or something like that, I mean, there's various options there. The big thing is just trying to get with somebody, get with an org, get with a group of people, as quickly as possible. And all of these people in here, I'm sure someone in here would be more than happy to take you on. Heck, I'd be more than happy to take you on too.
Yeah.
And get in with some of these people. And right now the economy is super inflated. We could throw a ton of money at you, and you can go buy as many ships as you want and just play.
Yeah. Celix says, I'd love to jump in with you guys. Absolutely. Make sure you join the STARJUMP Discord. There's people like Art said, he can give you help you out in game. I can help you out in game. Absolutely can check it out. Hey, it's Space Tomato Gaming in chat space. Hope you're doing well, buddy. Nice to see you. I was just watching your stream, or watching your pre-recorded show, or one of your streams that was recorded on YouTube. I was just watching that earlier today. I forget which one it was. Everyone, make sure you go check out Space Tomato. I got to give you a little shout out. Can we give Space Tomato a shout out on Twitch? But I hope you're doing well, Keenan. But yeah, Celix, it's a game that you can have really high highs with, and then days that it frustrates you to the point where you want to throw your computer out the window. And sometimes it's from patch to patch. I always say that 3.9 was the worst this game has ever been for me, and then 3.11 was like the best. You know what I mean? It's like from patch to patch, you're going to see your experience change as they go through development. Last year was a pretty stable year for the most part. I think this year is going to be a pretty stable year. But I think it's a great time to come into Star Citizen because a lot of things are happening. Two major things are happening, though. One is we are in the quote-unquote year of Squadron 42 releasing, which is a big deal, right? And two, there has been a concerted focus by CIG to start heading towards the Star Citizen 1.0 North Star, okay? And if you haven't already watched it, Celix, I really encourage you to go on YouTube, go to Star Citizen's YouTube channel, the actual channel, and go to their Star Citizen 1.0 CitizenCon presentation and watch that. You will see where they are taking this game when it gets to 1.0. Okay. So for sure, check that out. For sure, check that out. Real quick here, let me grab something for you. I think you can use this Discord invite if you want to join the Discord. Do we have some more questions there? DevilDog.game says, question, what do you think the next ship will get is, and when do you think we will see it? 26 ships mean we should see one every couple of weeks on average. Yeah, that's interesting. I am curious if CIG is only going to release ships when they release a new patch, or if they're going to violate that and just release ships as standalones every single month. It's a little too early to tell on that, but I do think that it would be smart to release one, pretty much every month. I think that would be really, really cool. So hopefully CIG does that. But for right now, I see them releasing them during patches, which means during the March patch, which would be the next time we would see ships. Maybe we'll see 2 or 3 ships be released. If they're doing a every month release, then we'll see one in February. We'll see one in March. We'll see, so on and so forth. Thorne says, Jared said there's another ship coming next month. Okay, cool. So I didn't know that. So maybe they're doing it every single month, which would be cool. That would keep things exciting. In terms of which ship it is, I don't know. I would love for it to be the Aurora Mark II. I think that'd be kind of interesting to see at this stage. Yeah. If I could just, I guess I would prefer it to be the Stingray.
The salvage mole.
The salvage mole. Oh yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
It probably is the salvage mole. Yeah, good call out. It's the salvage mole. Yeah, I think you're right. I see a couple people in chat saying that too. Yeah, it's probably the salvageable. Which, yeah, and you know, they could release 2 ships honestly every month and still be good. Well, I guess they have to release a few extra ships during the big events, but yeah, we'll see. Salvage mold though sounds about right. My name is Sam says, STARJUMP Graham, do you think they added those deck elevators to the Kraken? You know, that's a great question. We talked a little bit about that on a previous episode, about them adding deck elevators to the Drake Kraken. I personally think they had to. And because if you really look at how, you know, cargo ships, especially something like a, you know, what do you call it? A Cutlass Black even, landing on the deck of the Kraken, there was no easy way to get the cargo from the Kraken to, you know, from the Kraken deck up here down below to the air car and thus to the cargo storage. So they've got to figure out some way to get cargo from the primary deck down. Now, the smaller decks on the side, you could technically move it in the large doors, and those are for smaller ships anyway. But for that main deck, there does need to be a way to get that cargo in there. Absolutely. Last question for tonight, everybody. Keep it secret. This question: do you think the raft is now overpriced at $190 when it holds 96 less SCU than the Hermes at 220? That's a great question. Keep it secret. I'm sure Execute and the Info Runners have some opinions on this. I would say it's a little overpriced, a little bit. You still get a lot of convenience though with the raft, with that exterior loading. It's going to be much easier to load that ship. And, you know, what was that event? I forget that event. One of the last events we had last year where the raft really excelled and everyone was using it. It showed you how effective the raft could be from a function standpoint because of the way its cargo is loaded. So if there's a price premium on that efficacy, or efficiency, then that's maybe worth it to some people. That's maybe worth it to some people. Again, it comes down to that internal cargo versus external cargo thing. You know what I mean? I'll take one more question here that I just see in chat right now. It says STARJUMP Grim, do you think we'll see a reconcept for the Kraken like they did with the Pioneer, just on smaller in scale? No, I don't think so, because I think the Kraken is mostly going to be what it is. I think it's going to mostly look like what it did. It's going to have all the same functions. It's not like the Pioneer where how it builds bases totally changed. The Kraken's still going to function how it does now. They're just going to be adding a lot of quality of life stuff to it, especially related to flow, both for people and cargo. GearCon just cheered another 100 bits. Thank you very much, GearCon. Salute to you, buddy. I appreciate it. Everyone, we've had a fantastic show tonight. Get in on that Hermes giveaway again. Go to the Gleam link pinned to the top of chat. I do appreciate that. You may want to make sure you get in on that. Very important. Stand by, everybody. Yeah, make sure you get in on that. I'm going to give that away on Sunday, February 1st. Okay. So I'll give that away live on stream. Again, if you need that Gleam link, if you can't get to the pen one at the top of the chat for some strange reason, there's the Gleam link. Appreciate it. GearCon says, yeah, I always do 1,000, but you say 100, so I figured as many 100s. Very good, GearCon. Appreciate you. GearCon, obviously a huge supporter of STARJUMP and our efforts.
Numbers. Words and numbers are hard on this stream.
Words and numbers are very hard tonight. I don't know why. I'm struggling like I am. But GearCon has... GearCon cheered a whole bunch of 100 biddies. Well, I need to call it out. He cheered 100 bits, 100 bits, 100 bits, 100 bits, and 100 bits. That's amazing. GearCon, thank you very much, buddy. I appreciate you. Everyone, also, again, thank you for any and all donations to help Ender out. If you want to get in on that to help the boy out, here is my coffee link. You can donate there, and I will forward those donations to him to help him out in this time of need. Really do appreciate that. For now, we're going to raid someone that raided me not too long ago. And as you know, I like to repay the favor. You're all amazing. I love you very much. Thank you for hanging out tonight. I could not ask for a better community. I really, really couldn't. I mean that wholeheartedly. Art, thank you for hanging out with me tonight as well.
Always a pleasure.
Stay tuned for. Oh, by the way, everyone, on Sunday's show, we're going to give away the Hermes, of course, but we're going to go deep on Battle Cruiser again, specifically on how to get one. And Art, I don't know if you're around, but if you are, I definitely want you there because it's going to link into some stuff. But we'll see. Either way, we're going to talk about the Battle Cruiser on Sunday, so hope to see you all there. In the meantime, I'm going to send you all over, on the Twitch side of things, I'm going to send you all over to Expat Brat. She rated me not too long ago. When you go over there, if you've not followed her, please give her a follow. I really appreciate it. And to the rest of you, thank you for hanging out tonight on YouTube and Twitch. You're all amazing. Salute to you. Appreciate it. Have a good night, everybody. YouTube, thank you very much.